Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you're calling in from. My name is Fiona Hatfield, and I'm going to walk you through today's Reporting and Printing with Geocortex Essentials webinar. I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes highlighting concepts related to reporting and printing within the Geocortex Essentials framework. If you do have questions throughout the presentation, please use the GoToMeeting console. You can write your questions in there, and at the end of the presentation, if there's time, I'll get back to them, or I will summarize and follow up in an email after the webinar is done. So please do ask questions if you're not sure how something works, or if you want to see more examples, etc. Okay, to get started, this webinar is designed to introduce out-of-the-box reporting functionality to those of you that might be new to Geocortex Essentials and to those of you that have not used reporting or print templates before. I'm going to start by discussing the differences between report and print templates and what the report designer interface controls look like. Then I'm going to go through a demonstration and show you how quickly you can create a template using Report Designer and how to configure this on a layer in your Geocortex Essentials site. Following the demonstration, I'm going to walk through some real-world examples and ideas of what you can build using out-of-the-box tools and technology. Let's get started. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Geocortex, Geocortex Essentials is a versatile framework for extending Esri technology, enabling users to build and maintain a gallery of simple and powerful web mapping applications. Our model seeks to minimize the time people spend creating the capabilities and applications their organizations want, making it as easy as possible to maintain those capabilities and apps over time and remain ideally positioned to embrace ongoing technology change. The focus has always been on ease of creation, ease of maintenance, and long-term future-proofing for application creators. While Essentials offers a ton of out-of-the-box tools and features, it is also highly customizable. Today, we're going to look specifically at reporting and printing, but there's lots of other tools that are included with Geocortex Essentials, such as viewers, with plenty of out-of-the-box features, tools, and widgets that can be customized according to your requirements. We also have a native mobile viewer with offline syncing capabilities. There's instant search, which helps you index your map service data and gives huge performance increases. There's data linking, there's accessibility, there's all sorts of different tools and features that come standard with your Geocortex Essentials installation. But today, as I said, we're going to look at reporting and printing. And I'm focusing primarily on out-of-the-box functionality and how you can quickly create a reusable report or a map that fits within your organization's needs and design requirements. I'm going to quickly switch over to a demonstration. I want to show you, for those of you that are new to Geocortex Essentials, I want to show you what it is that we're talking about before we get into any details about it. So what you're looking at here is a Geocortex Essentials site. It's a website, an application that was built using all the tools from our suite. This is our viewer. And you see here a map with, we can include a series of toolbar options or this I want to menu. I'm going to choose I want to create a tax parcel report, and I'm going to be guided by a series of windows, or it's a guided user interactions, or we call them a workflow, that will ask me, the user, to enter a series of information so I can generate a report. So I'm going to enter in my address. So I'm at 456 15th Street. 15th, and the autocomplete box pops up some options for me here. So that's my address. Next, I'm going to buffer out those parcels. I'm going to leave the defaults 25 meters and click Next. And we see here all of the parcels that were within 25 meters of my selected parcel were selected. And we see that there were 8 parcels, and I can choose to run one of 3 reports, either a mailing labels report, a tax parcel report, or a simple parcel report. I'll choose simple parcel report and generate that report. As you can see, I have a quick report that includes data such as the owner's name, the address, property's value, what year the property was built in, etc. So all of this information is provided for the selected parcels. So that's how quickly a user can generate a report. If that user wanted to generate a map of the same area, I can click Print. And what you saw there is this red box. This is defining my print area. So if I wanted to adjust that, if I click Lock Print Preview with Map, as you can see, I can move that around. So depending on where I want that to be within my screen capture area, I'm going to keep that locked. And now if I pan again, you see that locks that position into place. Another thing to note is when you do print, anything that's on the screen, whether it's this buffer or selection or perhaps any markups that I do. So if I added a point here, or if I added a text, I could add the address, which is 456 15th Street. That will be added to the map. As you can see, we've added this markup text. If I hit print, that will be included in the output as well. I'm just going to make one little few change here. You can choose the different types of templates. We'll be talking about templates shortly. You can choose the different templates from this drop-down screen, output formats, the resolution. I'm going to make it 300 dpi. We can change the title. I can enter in 456 15th Street, etc. And if I hit print, it's going to go and generate, it's going to combine the data that I have on the screen with the template and create an output PDF document for me. And I will be able to print that to a plotter or to my printer, or I can save this and as a digital file as well. And you can see that we have all the elements of a map, including north arrow, scale bar, etc. So that's very quickly how you would go about creating a map or a report. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation and go through a few slides, and then I'm going to show you a little bit more of a deep dive demonstration shortly. So now that we've seen how to generate this map and a report, let's explore some of the details. So reports and maps present the facts and figures behind your analysis and information. These are invaluable companions to the applications you are creating using Geocortex Essentials. Reports let you effectively display attribute information about map features in a tabular format, and maps let you display the relative location and spatial aspects of your data. Templates let you control the look and feel of both. Having worked in the GIS industry for several years, I really think that getting information out of your system is one of the key benefits to any GIS. So reporting and mapping are two of those ways of getting information out. By using templates, you can apply organizations' branding schemes or color palettes to all of your output documents, giving this uniform feel. And by applying a consistent look and feel to all of your maps and reports, you can facilitate the readability for your end users. In addition, by using good design principles and practices, you can actually help guide and lead your readers to effectively digest complex data and concepts. A couple more benefits are that you can include reusable elements, such as a legal note related to the usage of your data, or you can match the requirements of a regulatory report. For example, a FEMA report or a municipal drinking water quality assessment report. So these are some of the benefits of report and map templates. So what are reporting and printing templates? Both types of templates are used to share information in a pre-configured format for digital or print outputs. For example, a PDF document. The main difference between a report and a print template is the information they contain. Report templates contain layer information, and print templates contain the current map view. Maps and reports are generated from templates that you create in an application called Report Designer. A template is a file that defines how the data in the map or report is laid out and formatted. A template is created independently of the data, which will be used to create that final output. When a user chooses to generate a map based on the selected features or a report, Geocortex Essentials supplies that data and other content to the reporting engine at runtime, and then the reporting engine merges that data with the content of the template to create a printable output map or report. The primary output for reporting is the PDF, since it's designed to output well to a printer, but you can configure other formats such as a RTF, a JPEG, and other image formats. On this slide, we're going to look at the specific details of report templates. In Geocortex Essentials, reports are used to publish information about the currently selected map features. Reports can include attribute data, summaries of data, linked tabular data, images, maps, charts, and dataset transformation workflows, it's actually an advanced method that allows you to modify the dataset dynamically, such as calculating a value just before the report template is populated and formatted. Your report can be figured to run in a variety of manners. For example, from the Identified Tools map tip, from a layer context menu, or from a workflow, like we saw in the first demonstration. In our example on the slide, we can see that the tax parcel layer has been configured to have a mailing label report and a parcel report. So these two reports, because these two reports contain data that's related to the contents of the layer, we're actually configuring it on in Geocortex Essentials, we're configuring the report on the maps layer. The report here shown includes tabular data related to the selected parcels feature, an aerial photo, and a feature map in the bottom right-hand corner. The data is being driven by the tax parcels layer's content, such as owner's name, address, mailing address, the property's values, and details about the building on the selected lot. And the feature map in the right-hand corner is used to illustrate the location of the parcel's property. Optionally, you can include data from other sources that are related to this parcel, and we do that by including them in sub-reports. Sub-reports allow you to combine all sorts of different types of data in one main report. A template can have as many sub-reports as you want. So this means that a report can be linked to feature maps, linked tables, or other data sources, such as school district data, building data, garbage pickup data, voting districts, previous tax assessments, and so on. When designing your report, keep in mind the efficiency of the report. The more feature maps and linked data controls you add to your report, the more overhead the report will require. If a user has selected 100 parcels and runs a report that contains feature maps and sub-reports, 100 feature maps will be needed to be created and 100 data links will be fired for each of your data links. So just consider this when you're designing your reports. You can consider limiting the extent of your map, or you could use a workflow to limit the results to exactly the parameters that your user is looking to report on. Another strategy for large or complex reports is to configure them to run in the background. And when the report is complete, you can configure email settings to notify the user when the report is ready. The second type of template is a print template. A print template is a special type of report where the main part of the output is an image of the current map view. We configure the print templates in Geocortex Essentials at the site level. Print templates can include elements like an overview map, a title, description, north arrow, scale bar, legend, and the current map view, which can contain information from more than one layer. Print maps show all of the visible data in the current map view, plus any markups. If you recall the demonstration at the top of the presentation, all of that was included in the output document. And just like we saw in the demonstration, you use the print tool from the toolbar to print that. One of the unique capabilities of Geocortex Essentials map templates is the ability to print large format or plotter-sized prints and at high resolutions like 1200 dpi, etc. And this is all done from a web browser. So this is a pretty unique capability that we're pretty proud of. Shortly, I'm going to give you a live tour of the Geocortex Report Designer interface, showing you all the different components. I just wanted to briefly describe some of them here before we get into the demo. There's areas for headers, footers, detail sections. You can add in static text, dynamic layer field information, images, all sorts of things like that. So Report Designer is the design surface where you lay out and format your elements the way you want it to appear in your report. So you drag and drop layer controls onto your report, and you can control what it looks like. The main difference between a report and a map is the type of data. We're either bringing in layer data, such as the parcel data on the left, or map data, as we see on the right template. The only main difference is the controls that are available in when you're creating a map template. It is expanded to include things like north arrow, scale bar, map area, etc. So I'm going to jump over to a live demonstration of how to create a report using Designer. So if you can, the setup scenario is that I'm a GIS analyst and I work at a local municipality, and I'm intimately familiar with my organization's data, and I know how best to communicate that data. And I've been asked to create a report for our publicly facing website, and that report has local school data in it. So I can see here on that my data includes fields like name, category, address, city, state, zip, URL, etc. So these are the fields that I can work with in my report. I'm just creating a simple report. I'm going to open up Report Designer, a blank, empty Report Designer, and we can see here that it's got a header section, a detail section, and a footer section. The header section is repeated on each page of my report. If I wanted to include a report header, this section is only repeated on the first page. So that's how I can control that. I could add in a report title and modify some of the properties of that report title by modifying the font size, perhaps. I'm going to make it a 20-point bold font. I can adjust the color, maybe make it red to match my school board's color. And I can add in my title. So I'm going to call this a local school report. And we see here, now I can adjust that. I can play around with the alignment, make it center, etc. So this is my canvas where I'm dragging and dropping. Perhaps I want to include a logo. Perhaps I want to include some column headings, etc. In the interest of time, I had something created, somewhat created already. I'm just going to, I'll start a fresh detail section here for you. But on this report, we see that I have a title, a logo, column headings such as school name, category, and address. And these correspond to that data set that I'm using from my REST endpoint. And the main thing that I want to configure here are in my detail section is the data that's going to drive the report. If I click on preview, I can see this is what my report looks like right now. It doesn't have any data in it. So I'm going to add those 3 fields in, 1, 2, 3. And I can play around a little bit with the formatting here, make sure they all line up. Next, I might want to adjust the font for all 3. I'm going to change it to be an Arial 12-point font to make it a little bit more readable. And this first box, I want to include the school's name. And the important field here is that data field. Data field, I'm going to say name. That's what's going to, the data that's driving that. And this text box 1 can be anything. So I'm going to say school name. This is going to get overwritten when I generate the report at runtime. You'll see it's not fitting in the entire width of my, it's not showing up. So I'll just expand the size of these text boxes to accommodate more data. And this last, so this text box, I'm going to include for category. And this last text box data field is address. And if I wanted to take a look at what this looks like before it, we see that this isn't lining up. Perhaps I want to make that a little bit nicer and align those. And I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Might want to adjust the spacing. I could draw a line to demark the rows, if you will. So I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Next, I'm going to save this. I'm just going to save it to my desktop, and I'm going to call it my school report. Save that to my desktop. And now I'm going to go on to my my Geocortex Essentials Manager into that schools layer and assign that report to my layer. So here I am in Geocortex Essentials Manager, and this is where I control what layers I want to include and what templates are available to me. I'm going to click on Map Services, locate my public schools layer, and edit the layer properties. The layer properties is where I would control things like any data links, any feature maps, queries, charts, as well as report templates. So I'm going to add a report. So I'm going to call this local school report. I could give it a description. It doesn't have a feature map, but if I was including a feature map, I'd turn that on. It does not include data linking. Click Next. And here's where I would browse to my resources directory where I want to store this template, and I would upload my school report that I just created. And you'll see it listed now in my resources directory. Click Finish. It's listed as a report template on my layer. Hit Save. Now, if I go back to my viewer and hit refresh, my users are going to be able to run a report on schools in their area. So let's pretend I'm a user and I'm going to zoom in and browse to my neighborhood and select, I want to select some schools in my neighborhood. We see that 8 schools I selected. Next, I'm going to run a report from the Identify tool. So run a report, and that is the local school report that I just created. I hit run, download report file. Let's take a look. We see here that we have one page of 8 different schools. There's the name, the category, the address, etc. So that's how quickly and easily you can create a report and get up and running with templates. In the remaining time, I'm going to show you 6 slides containing some eye-catching samples from a variety of our customers, many of which are publicly accessible sites that you can visit yourself. So on the slide, you see 2 example reports, one taken from the County of Ventura and the other from Pitkin County, both publicly accessible Geocortex Essentials sites. And what I want to draw your attention to in these 2 reports, I didn't include all the pages of the report on the slide, but I wanted to point out that the data included in these 2 reports is coming from about between 20 and 50 different layers. So the vast amount of data, so in the Ventura County has 5 pages of data that is included in this report, such as parcel data, cemetery data, healthcare facilities, groundwater management areas, harbors, service areas, fire protection, voting districts, etc. You can literally link up dozens, if not hundreds, of data sources. But keep in mind some of the performance considerations that I mentioned earlier. Or you can generate these files offline and have them emailed once they're complete. That's a nice little feature. Both of these reports include a feature map, as you can see with the snapshot map image, highlighting the selected feature. And really the power here is the amount of data that you can associate using sub-reports and just link all of your rich databases of content and communicate this information to your users and stakeholders. This next report, when I first saw this report, I was like, wow, that looks really good. It captured my interest right away. A couple of things about it I really liked. I liked that the calendar view was dynamic. It's dynamically generated. Those check marks are checked off, representing that it was completed. And as a user, I can see that right away. I can see future dates highlighted in yellow, etc. So this is really rich from the end user's perspective. They can quickly see the relevant information to them, and it's eye-catching. I just really liked how this looked. And I think that it's got a lot of rich data, and it's got great design and clear communication. And this is really important when you're providing details to your audience. This report could very easily be turned into a garbage collection report or a yard waste pickup, or in the winter, not that we want to think about that, it could be a snowplow report. So this next example is a report that requires quite a bit of on-the-fly calculations as the source to generate the end product. It's a solar carport potential report from LA County's publicly accessible solar map project. The output report contains a feature map highlighting the selected map feature, in this case a carport, and the map symbology is all kept representing the solar potential, and it's preserved in the map image and in the report. So not only are you getting all the report content, you're getting that map image, which is rich with visual detail. The numeric data is calculated on the fly and it gives us the potential energy savings and carbon offset savings per year. These values all calculated using the selected feature and current electricity rates. So as not to downplay the significance of print templates, I've included some map examples from public Geocortex Essentials sites. This is an example that where the client actually just modified the templates that come shipped with Geocortex Essentials and modified it just a little bit to meet their needs. It's a traditional map with all of your map elements, north arrow, scale bar, etc. And this can be printed from your toolbar menu option. The last two examples, one is a very lengthy master environmental assessment report, and I wanted to show this one because of all of the maps that are included as sub-reports of this main report. So this is very useful because it's all one cohesive PDF report with lots of tabular data, but also those maps highlighting the potential for using Geocortex as an information management tool. The last example slide that I want to show you is from the Mississippi Forestry Commission. And this is a 32-page report that includes data about their forest management plan. It has local wildlife protection and habitat areas, soil profiles, watershed details, etc. And included are these sort of very nice looking maps. And on the slide, we see a reference map, a topographic map, a forest stand map. In this 32-page report, you get this as outputs. So hopefully today's demonstration and samples have shown you that there's a lot of potential for using maps and report templates, and you can apply consistent branding and formatting to all of your organization's output products. I expect you see how easy it is to get quickly started turning your data into information and applying a consistent look and feel for your audience. Before I finish up, I wanted to leave you with a few resources. If you're new to Geocortex Essentials, you can go and visit our Discovery Center to watch demonstration videos, try a guided tour, or dive into a tutorial or a customer story. If you're a current customer, you can log into our Geocortex community portal and ask a question, browse the code gallery, or knowledge base articles. And the final bullet point on the slide is a new resource. It's our online documentation center, and I use it a lot. It's a great system that has all of our core products online help, the system requirements, installation guides, and links to samples. I would also, or we would love to see you face-to-face at our live Geocortex user event in Washington, D.C. in October 24th and 25th. Please consider joining us or go to go.geocortex.com/user-conference for more information. Thank you so much for spending the last 30 minutes learning more about printing and reporting templates in Geocortex Essentials. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them now, or you can reach me at fhatfield@latitudegeo.com. From all of us at Latitude Geographics, I thank you very much for joining today's webinar.